I'll never forget standing in front of the house I grew up in, staring at the locks that had been changed overnight. My own mother had texted me, "We've decided you're no longer welcome here. Stay away permanently." My hands shook, my chest felt hollow, and I couldn't believe that after everything, my family had just erased me. But just 1 week later, I got a frantic voicemail from her financial advisor, an urgent crisis only I could fix. And that's when everything changed. If you've ever been betrayed by the very people who were supposed to love you most, then you'll understand the pain behind this story. But you'll also understand why the revenge that followed was so satisfying. So before we dive in, hit that like button, subscribe, and buckle up, because this one is going to give you chills. I grew up in what looked like an ordinary family from the outside. Nice suburban home, holiday dinners, family vacations. But the truth, my mother always had this sharp edge to her. Control was her oxygen, and she needed everything, especially me, under her thumb. When I was younger, it was little things. What I wore, what I studied, who I could talk to. She always phrased it as, "I know what's best for you," but the reality was she wanted a puppet, not a child. By the time I was an adult, that control turned toxic. If I disagreed with her, I was disrespectful. If I made my own choices, I was ungrateful. It was like walking on eggshells every second, praying not to trigger her wrath. But nothing could prepare me for that text. It was short, cold, and final. "We've decided you're no longer welcome here. Stay away permanently." I read it over and over, like maybe the words would change if I blinked enough times. I drove to the house anyway, heart pounding. Maybe it was a misunderstanding. Maybe this was some kind of sick joke. But when I got there, the locks had already been changed. The metal handle felt foreign under my fingers. This wasn't my home anymore. I wasn't their child anymore. My chest tightened until I could barely breathe. I stood there on the porch, numb, listening to the faint sound of laughter inside, laughter I wasn't a part of anymore. For the next week, I floated through life in a haze. Betrayal does that. It's not just sadness, it's this crushing mix of grief and fury, of being rejected by the very people who created you. I kept asking myself, what did I do that was so unforgivable? But no answer ever came. Then, one morning, my phone buzzed with a voicemail notification. I almost ignored it, until I saw the name. My mother's financial advisor. His voice was frantic. "This is urgent. Your mother's accounts are in crisis, and unless immediate action is taken, she's going to lose everything." I froze. For context, I wasn't just some kid she tossed aside. I had built my career quietly, deliberately, in finance and business management. The very skills she had dismissed as pointless were now the only lifeline she had. And for the first time in my life, I had leverage. The thought made me tremble, not with fear, but with something hotter. Something sharper. This was my moment. I called him back, calm as ice. "I'll look into it," I said, "but under one condition, I don't deal with her directly. From now on, everything goes through me." And just like that, the tables turned. Over the next few days, I unraveled the mess. Reckless spending, shady investments, unpaid taxes. My mother had always acted like she was smarter than everyone else, but the truth was, without someone keeping her in check, she was digging her own grave financially. I cleaned it up, but not in the way she expected. I shifted control, legally and quietly, until every major asset, every account, every decision required my approval. By the time she realized, it was too late. When she finally called me, her voice was sugar-coated panic. "Sweetheart, I think we need to sit down and talk. You know, as a family." I almost laughed. "You mean the family that told me I wasn't welcome? The one that changed the locks?" Silence. Then her tone cracked, sharp and desperate. "You don't understand. We could lose everything." And that's when I finally let the anger I'd swallowed for years spill out. "No, Mom, you could lose everything. Me, I've already lost you once, and it hurt like hell. But this time, I get to decide how the story ends." She begged, she screamed, she tried guilt, manipulation, even rage. But it was all empty now. The power was gone. I didn't bankrupt her. I wasn't cruel for the sake of cruelty. But I made sure she couldn't touch a dime without my oversight. The freedom she craved, the control she worshipped, it was mine now. The final meeting was almost cinematic. She sat across from me, eyes red, papers spread across the table. The advisor explained calmly, "From now on, all financial decisions will require your child's authorization. It's the only way forward. The look on her face, shock, humiliation, rage, was the sweetest justice I could imagine. And me, for the first time in my life, I felt untouchable. Sometimes revenge isn't about destruction, it's about balance. About taking back the power that was stolen from you. My mother thought she could erase me from her life. Instead, she ended up depending on me for every financial decision she made. Karma has a funny way of coming full circle. If this story gave you chills, smash that like button and drop a comment below. What's the most satisfying revenge you've ever seen? And of course, don't forget to subscribe, because I've got plenty more stories where this one came from.